I went on a date with this really beautiful Lithuanian girl last night, and it reminded me of how you're supposed to either be persistent or how you should attract. So a lot of men on the internet and a lot of the comments that I get on my YouTube are people saying, "Oh bro, just leave her, man, she'll come to you, don't double text. You text her once, she doesn't respond, it means she's not interested." I used to think that was the case, but I've changed my mind now based on experiences I have with women and based on questions that I actually ask them, right? Because I actually go on dates with beautiful women, I end up curious and intrigued because I'm interested in this stuff. So I'll genuinely ask them questions and be like, "Oh, so, what was it that intrigued you about me when we first met?" And girls love those kind of questions because they're emotional questions, okay? They're not necessarily like logical questions. You're asking her how she felt or how she currently feels. And those are much better conversations to have while you're on a date. Anyway, the point is that I met this beautiful girl about 10 days ago on the weekend, and it was a brief encounter at a party. It was at a bar, actually. I spoke to her for about 5-10 minutes, and the conversation actually went really well. And then I thought to myself, cool, took her number, sent her a text. She responded 5 days later, to which most traditional dating coaches would say, she's not interested, bro. She got back to you too late. So 5 days later, she got back like, "Hey, I'm out of the country. I'm not really around." And that was it. Didn't really ask any questions. So you think to yourself, oh, maybe she's just not interested then. Fair enough. I guess I should move on. However, given you have to evolve and adapt, I think I'm one of the very few people who understand how to evolve my techniques. And I help you guys learn how to do this as I evolve through my experiences. Anyway, I ended up messaging her after that, being like, "Hey, cool, if you're back in town, let me know. It'd be nice to see you again." To which again, she responded 3 days later saying, "Oh, I'm out of town. I'll be back in 4 days' time." Again, no real questions, no real indication of interest, but a response 3 days later. So you'd probably say, mate, she's not interested. Then I messaged her again a couple of days later. "Hey, seems like you're in town. It'd be lovely to meet up. I leave in 10 days' time. I really like your vibe. You're the female version of Tony Robbins." And that line she liked because you're playing on her emotions. You're saying something interesting. You're not being boring in your conversation. It's ultimately important to not be an absolute bore when you're conversating with these girls. So she liked that and she responded saying, "Ha ha." Right? And it was just simple as "ha ha." And I was like, oh gosh, this really isn't working. Then, synchronistically, she apparently, which I found out yesterday, had walked past me in Dubai, but said nothing because she was not dressed well and she said she was looking like shit. So she was like, "Oh, I walked past you but didn't want to say anything." And she was like, that felt like a sign for me to get back in touch. So she didn't say hello to me as she walked past me. I didn't see her. I didn't notice her. I was getting on with my day. She then messaged me like, "Hey, I'm in town. Are you still here?" And I was like, bang, perfect. Now, there was obviously a lot of luck involved in that sense because, she'd bumped into me. So it was some sort of strange, wonderful coincidence. But I was like, "Yeah, I'm in town. Why don't we go for a coffee today?" And then we had a little conversation and she was like, "Yeah, cool, coffee sounds good." And I met her last night. She's gorgeous, really lovely girl, feminine, sweet, and was bubbly and conversational. So I had a really lovely date with her. And it made me think to myself, most of the time you probably think, "Oh, she's not interested, bro. She didn't respond. Oh, she just responded with a ha ha. Don't waste your time." But I would flip that on its head and say, look, women are busy these days. They've got, maybe busy in some senses. They've got stuff to do. They've got other stuff on their mind. They've got a bunch of other men texting them. They don't think to respond to you. You're not on the top of their mind, right? So what needs to happen is that your conversation needs to be effective. So it can't just be plain and simple like, "Hey, nice meeting you. When are we meeting again?" Her interest levels need to be very high if she's going to answer a question like that. So you need to chuck in something more fun. Like, "It was great meeting you, enjoyed your vibe. You're like the female version of Tony Robbins." bang, that's just it getting her thinking. She's like, that's funny, that's interesting. Say something about her character that interested you. So don't come up with such boring lines, and then you might just get a response. And then the second part of this is, I think persistence is fine. I don't think you should necessarily chase women, but I think it's okay to pursue women. There's a big difference. Chasing women is double texting, triple texting them with boring messages, calling them when you're drunk. You're just being an idiot, right? But if you are persistent and you pursue in a sense where, let's just say, and I've spoken about this a couple of times, I don't think double texting is necessarily wrong unless you come up with a clever follow-up text. And sometimes it doesn't have to necessarily be that clever. She might have just missed your message. She might be busy. She might be dating other guys, which she most probably is. So I think it's absolutely fine to fire another message and to be persistent and to pursue women that you actually like, because you've got nothing to lose, right? You've got nothing to lose. And if your ego is so big that you think, if she doesn't respond to me, then she's not into me and she's not worthy, then you're the one that's going to lose out. So most of the time when I have conversations with these beautiful women, they're swamped with so many different guys, okay? They're just busy girls. And so it's okay to fire another message. It's okay to pursue something that you really want, right? In business, when you really want something, you have to keep going for it. You have to keep knocking on the door. You're going to fail numerous times. The same goes for beautiful women. You do have to keep knocking on the door of beautiful women and to show them your true colors, to show them that you're a wonderful personality, to give them a chance, to give you a chance ultimately. Now, unless you're super high status and you're mad famous or you're mad rich, and even the mad rich ones, by the way, are having a torrid time with dating. So it's usually if you've got mad high status, she's likely to respond to you because she wants a piece of that clout. But ultimately, she won't know if you're high status unless she has your Instagram. So if she's taken your WhatsApp and she doesn't know much about you, it's okay to pursue and to be relatively persistent, to send another message and to say something interesting, which is extremely important, and then just to leave it in the hands of the gods, just to be like, well, I hope she ends up responding. If she responds 5 days later, cool. She responded late, maybe her interest is low, but don't forget that you can flip her interest into high interest from low interest by being a wonderful, original, authentic man, okay? And that takes time to build. So at the beginning, if the interest is not high, don't worry. Don't give up and think, this isn't going to work. Okay? Persistent men who pursue, not chase, will end up getting the results. Meanwhile, while they're working and they're busy on their businesses, on their body, on their status, on their general well-being, you'll just attract other women anyway, right? So you should obviously have a roster of them. But eventually you will meet someone you really like, and it's fine to be persistent with that woman, and it's fine to pursue her. And I genuinely think it's okay to send another message. If she hasn't responded after a week, say something funny, say something interesting, tell her the truth, tell her that you liked her vibe and you'd like to see her again. So I really am going against the norm of what most of the comments are saying and most dating coaches are saying, because I don't really listen to anyone else. I listen to my own experiences, because I have such vast experience in this and a level of emotional intelligence that understands that women are busy, people are different, and it's fine to fire another message. You're not the king of the world, you're not Drake, so you're not going to get an instant response, and you have to give it time so that you can show her your status, show her your authenticity, show her your beauty and what a wonderful man you are, but that takes time. So at the beginning, let's go back to the traditional ways. Men are allowed to pursue, okay? You are allowed to pursue, you're allowed to be persistent. The women that I've ended up with that I loved, I was actually persistent with. But if I'm gonna think I'm the big man and be like, well, they should be coming to me, then good luck with that. Because then you're only gonna attract women that have initial high interest in you, which is probably few and far between. So open up your options and go for the things you really want in this life. And again, find to pursue, be interesting with your conversation, and give her a chance to give you a chance to work out what a wonderful man you really are.